Hey everyone, good morning. Just getting set up here. Greg Sullivan, nice to meet you. Just a final check here on the stream. We have audio. Looks good. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. This is a first experiment with a new YouTube channel. Greg Sullivan from JCETI CE-5 Japan. Streaming from Tokyo, Japan. It's been a long 2 years of lockdown and whatnot, so I've done a lot of YouTube activity. Our channel, JCETI, has been in existence for about 7 years. I just wanted to, live streaming is a lot of fun. So we've, during the pandemic here in Japan, we've had a lot of YouTubers come on. A new generation coming out with a lot of interesting technology these days. The live stream in YouTube is a great way to interact. So I know some people have been talking about, and I was thinking about doing some sort of Zoom meeting as well. But here we go. The start of the brand new lunar year 2022. And I think YouTube is the way to go for now. And I just was really inspired by the new moon. And one thing is our channel has 32,000 subscribers in Japanese in Japan, and I released a few videos, maybe 4, 5, or 6 in 2020, and did not have time to do a lot last year. So this is sort of an update from 2021. End of the year report 2021 / brand new beginning for 2022. So thanks for tuning in. This will be, of course, left in the archive, so I'll try and share in the groups as well. But I know everyone's joining from around the world, and if you chat in, tell us where you're viewing from. It'd be great. I just did an interview with quite a well-known researcher lives in Arizona, John D'Souza, ex-FBI, yesterday. So this channel, Superlogical, will cover mostly CE-5 related topics, but also some cover interviews of people either related to work in Japan or other complementary modalities. One of them coming up is going to be MAP, which is the Medical Assistance Program, and that's actually a retreat center not too far from where Dr. Greer lives in Virginia, called Paralandra. And the woman who has kind of been their ambassador in Japan for many years, Naoko, she's going to be working with us next month to kind of roll out their new translation of the MAP manual. So that's I've been involved with a lot of healing sessions as well. Going through CE-5 has been a great training into other related and deep modalities of healing and clearing. So all those kind of related topics will pop up on this channel as well. So talk about big starts and shifts. I have to start this one with a dedication to a beautiful family member who passed 2 days ago, my grandmother. Man, talk about my sole remaining grandparent, fellow Cancer, and kindred soul spirit, passed in the state of Rhode Island 2 days ago. So this is she was there when I left for my journey to start JCETI in Japan, and winters are tough in the Northeast, as many know. So rest in peace. She's on her way up onto a ship, I guess, right now. So hopefully she'll become a new ET guide in the future. Hi, I'm watching from Perth. Hi from Yokohama. Hi, Mark. What's from Tokyo? Thank you. Thanks for chatting. I think the community, CE-5 community, is really doing great. The film was out. I made a brief cameo in the film talking about contact in Japan, and we have a long-standing archive of over 10 years of footage, and I've been waiting for the right time to release a lot of those things. And I think a lot of us know with CE-5, it's really a flow. The process is important. So up until now, a lot of UFO research has just focused on the phenomenon, whether it's a split-second clip or a flash in the sky or some lights on the ground or whatnot. But I think we all understand the need to show the flow here and give a greater context of how how macro this work can go, and all the places it ties into. Um, so 2021 held a lot of. It was a really interesting paradox because the country, we had the Olympics, of course, in Summer Olympics in Tokyo, and most of the winter and spring were in a soft lockdown. Life as usual was not interrupted in a huge way, but and it actually helped get some projects done. I hunkered down, and from February to about June, I was eyes deep in my latest book, Hologram Mind Part 2, which was my first publishing release since in about 5 years. And also we were working on the finishing touches of Unacknowledged, the book version. So last year was a amazing medley of long-term projects coming to fruition, as well as a lot of major exposure in the media. So the paradox was that everyone's like hunkered down and locked down, and I'm being called to be on TV and these huge YouTube channels, and as well as we did Contact in the Desert and History Channel. So it was like kind of a topsy-turvy, amazing roller coaster of a year. But even with history, we must have had over 6 months of back and forth with tons of emails and messages, and that just aired last week, so this is also very timely. So people who might have seen me there, I'm working on more English content, renewing the English website. But History Channel was Ancient Aliens season 14, I believe, and we were in myself and our ton of Disclosure Japan witness, Mr. Momoro Sato, were interviewed. I got the first request and then immediately introduced them to him. So we both came together near Tokyo Station. I think it was in June or July in the summer, and had a great day of filming. And so he spoke extremely elegantly, and he represents several other witnesses in Japan. We've interviewed one or two of them. So I don't know actually how much of our clips were used, but that aired as World on Alert. We got some backlash on the Facebook groups about that, but my response was better with these mass media shows to have one foot in the door and get some exposure rather than being left out in the cold like it has been up until now. Obviously, I provided them with some CE-5, and a lot of my comments about the counterintelligence operations in Japan were all cut, I'm sure, but at least it was. The staff were enlightened by it, and dealing with them was really a pleasure. None of the trouble that we experienced with Japanese TV in the past was there in the History Channel, so they were really keen to learn and whatnot. On the other hand, a lot of the topics I would like to talk about here are the troubles we've dealt with the Japanese media, which is a monster all unto its own. Thank goodness for YouTube, though. Japan was kind of behind the curve on the online thing for almost about 4 to 5 years behind the Western world there. But with the Corona pandemic, YouTube blew up big time. So much so that the TV stations are copying, they'll put their videos with a timer stream under it, and it's just like this subliminal, they're putting the red and white, theme, YouTube design theme on their shows and stuff, and they're losing viewers like crazy is what I'm saying. So that also lowered the bar of their kind of sponsors and the check that the UFO topic, the contact topic, was filtered by. So for the first time in several years, 7 years actually, I was invited to two major shows. One was in February, dead of winter, just about a year ago, right down by Tokyo Harbor, and that turned out into we caught film of ships in every one. That one was diluted by some other people in being presented at the same time, and they didn't really show my footage. But a few months before that, in my local area of Western Japan, we got some amazing ground lights, and they showed that. And then finally, the last one was one of the most famous people in all of Japan TV, the director Beat Takeshi, who you might know. I think he had a film in English called Fireworks. and he kind of like the Japanese gangster film director, and he's on TV all over the place. So one of his new shows did a full profile. They came to my house. They came to our office, our little session room in Ebisu, right in the middle of the city. And then we went out to a nearby lake outside of Tokyo, and we got an amazing crowd on film, and they showed the whole thing. With these shows, you can film ships and have successful contact, but they won't air it. So there's no guarantee they'll air it. So that show was excellent because they showed the clip, and although there was of course the entertainment and poking fun of a little bit there, it was a lot less than ever before. Yeah. So and then of course with our YouTube friends, we've got in 2021, and just the other last week, actually 2 weeks ago, we had the quote-unquote Disclosure Fest and festival. The YouTube festivals people are doing here are interesting. I know a lot of actually UFO conferences and events have been canceled or moved online, unfortunately, even this year, like Laughlin, I think, was canceled, Laughlin, Nevada, MegaCon. So really, I think the online space is going to be where it's at from here on out, and the Japanese YouTubers have really done a great job with transitioning, and they've done a couple great, not so much UFO related, but all day spiritual, spiritual and channeling based conferences that feature maybe 5 to 10 speakers that go all day. So I've been in most of them. The most amazing one was on 5/5 during our Golden Week holiday of 2020. They had something like 30,000 on live, and wow, it was a game changer. It was a generation shift. It was a closing of one era and the opening of another one. And I was there live with the staff, a handful of people actually at the broadcast place, up on stage, calling in the ET guides, and the amazing thing is how much people can feel the energy. So with these streams, the nice thing is, that the actual energy work and this transmission of contacts, sort of higher dimensional energy, is amazingly fast and efficient. So with all the comments and people I met afterwards who watched or took part in that, even watching the replay of the festival, really, they were blown away at how real they felt the different ET groups, as we called them. And there was ships in the area and that kind of thing. Yeah, so I wanted to cover a couple, just have three major topics here. This is my, again, first live stream. Superlogical channel, the name might change a little bit. Superlogical is a word that's important to my journey from D.T. Suzuki, which is he brought Zen Buddhism to the West. And he has a beautiful library in Kanazawa on the Japan seaside of Japan here. And the word means it's like beyond logic. So the world of the unseen and cosmic consciousness is unable to be logically understood or explained. So that word has been key to my study and my journey. So that's one of the channel names or website names I've been meaning to use for a while, actually. Yeah. So and then part of the a lot of people, I'm sure, coming on via the CE-5 film have basic questions. I mean, there's a ton of amazing information out there, and people have made the PDF manuals. There's the SETI training materials, which are the basis of course, our work in Japan. And it's this is I'd like to make a little more of an interactive, video platform here with YouTube. That would be really fun. I think with the tools, some people, often like to use the laser pointers. We do use them in Japan, out in the country. I think a site called Dragon Laser, they've had some pretty powerful ones. I was lucky enough to meet a distributor in Japan whose wife is Chinese, and he goes back and forth with his business. So we have a pipeline for lasers ourselves with JSETI that I've never posted them online or sold them online, but I offer them to our participants when they request them. So people have enjoyed having those sort of semi-low powered lasers. The green astronomy lasers are nice. we haven't had any problems or accidents with them yet. Knock on wood. Yeah. But there have been incidents in Japan, of course, with that were very fishy, and some of them were 100% set up to kind of change the impression of the lasers, where someone was arrested shining a laser into an American military base in Okinawa. That was like 2 days before I arrived, and our event was going to happen. And in Tokyo, shining at a helicopter, or someone shining it from a truck at another oncoming car, and it was captured on a drive recorder. So I don't know, these things so you got to be careful with the lasers. We ask people or train people to never directly point it at anything. Try and circle the object you're pointing at instead. But we have, they're great to have the a back and forth, what they call lock-on. We've had many times, and it's amazing to have a ship fly right where you've just been pointing the laser. So, and then when the craft appear for a more extended period of time, they actually will pulse in time or in sync with the laser in your hand, that's quite an amazing feeling too. A couple other, we're in the winter season now in the Northern Hemisphere, so for those who, are kind of wary of the cold, we often did a tour to Mount Adams in Washington, and I was in and out of Portland, Oregon 2 or 3 times a year. And the store there called Polar, amazing outdoor store, pretty fashionable outdoor store, Poler, has the knapsack, and that's a full body sleeping bag. And it has, you can have your arms inside of it, or have the arms, they have zips that you can put the arms outside of it. So, and then it has an opening at the bottom where your legs go through. So that's a great one. It's not as cumbersome as bringing separate blankets, and you can actually wear it, so it doesn't fall off if you're moving around a lot. It won't. There's no risk of it dropping off and you having to keep putting the blanket on. And the other one I think a lot of people are aware of as far as tools go is the zero gravity chair. We move around a lot, so I never I carry more of a compatible I think our company's called Helionox. They have a nice size of small to mid-range collapsible chairs that fit into a very small pouch. So I put that in my suitcase or send it to the accommodation we're using for our CE-5 overnights, which we've done tons of here. And so but the other some people here are starting to take interest in having the larger chair with the reclining capability. So that zero gravity chair, there's several of them. There's also a hammock style chair now, which has, I think they're probably available in the US too, I'm sure, but it has a swing style seat on the side frame. So that's actually, it provides a sort of it's sort of halfway between the full reclining of the zero gravity and an upright chair. So that helps you avoid the skywatch neck and any cramping or strain that might happen in the field there. Yeah. So thank you, Mark. Yeah, the Kanazawa Museum is really nice. It's they have a beautiful that water stone garden in the background, and very meditative environment right near the Modern Art Museum in Kanazawa. If anyone ever gets a chance, we haven't seen a lot of Western tourists here, so it is a strange feeling, and that's part of the reason for this live stream is I haven't been able to get home in a year as well, so we're sort of exiled here. It feels like we're returning to the isolation period of Japan, but yeah, it was kind of a strange, again, the paradox with the Olympics and no hardly any foreign visitors here was a kind of a strange balance, but yeah, a lot of fun all the less. So I think this will be more for an archive as we build the channel exposure. But I was talking to James from CE-5 Initiative yesterday. I think he's revving up to do some streaming. So yeah, it's with more of a panel. So we might do something together like that. And I'm in touch with several of the other kind of community ambassadors, community leaders. That's been a lot of fun. I think, but being in Japan here, everything I do is in Japanese, so that takes 110% of my focus and effort. So often, up until now, my English content has been only when I get home to the U.S. on a visit that sort of gets revs up. But this will hopefully this year will be have a little more time to do some more stuff in English. And so one thing that came up, an interesting point. Mark Kabrowski, thank you for watching. He has the Tokyo ET Contact Group, and he's always posting on his Facebook and Instagram. He joined us in our end of the year party. So as an effect of the YouTube channel exploding and all the other big channels that sort of gave us lip service and introduced us as sort of like a veteran outlet to refer to, all of our events and were just fuller than full, and I'm getting called out on the street from viewers in front of this and that station, or so. The exposure level was insane and is insane. So we had a 60-person cap on a party we did at the top of a brand new building in Shibuya, which is where you might have seen in like Lost in Translation, that huge intersection, the scramble intersection, Shibuya Scramble. So there's a lot of new construction happening in that area right around the station, and one of them is a 50-story high-rise that's a beautiful kind of office building. Right next to that is the building that Google Japan is in. And so on their 47th floor sky deck, the Shibuya Sky, they have a light show going on every night. They have a bar up there with nice sofa seats, and it's this huge, giant helipad. So it's for the fact that it's right in the middle of like the biggest city in the world, it actually has a really high vibration. So every time I've gone up there, I was seeing ships, seeing light ships, and the alleged satellite type. That's also my neighborhood, so I can walk there in about 5 minutes. And so we had a 60-person gathering that sold out in like 90 minutes. And we were considering the social distance and all that stuff, we were pretty lucky to get away with that. But on December 9th of last year, we had the gathering, we started, and I got the message or the inkling that we should take a group photo right when we first gathered, because I hadn't put any specific end time, and I knew that it would be cold, so people probably would be going home even in the middle of the gathering, So while we're all there, I figured it'd be a good time to take a shot. So lo and behold, that message was right on the money, and we had a very close encounter of what you might call maybe a scout craft or sort of a probe. It happened so fast, it was like one of those things where you're looking at it and your perception is trying to process, what is that? And then it disappeared. So luckily, both Mark and one of our veteran participants, Tomo, a woman called Tomo-san, and they were filming it. One of those really serendipitous moments. So if you look at the footage, which I'll definitely share in a later video, the thing comes in. It looks like it's a floating plastic bag or small white object at first, and it's floating in the spotlights, because it just so happened that we gathered right on the hour where the every 30 minutes this little light show starts with the standing spotlights. And so the object comes in, and it actually goes straight down and then straight up and then out of the frame. So we caught that on several cameras. And then we had several other very fast sightings and flashes all around the sky above Tokyo. And then the night ended with it really became cold, and some people were quite underdressed. So I was just about to start saying. Anyway, I'll do a final greeting down in the cafe restaurant down one floor below, because I know it's getting very cold. So just as I was literally, okay, everyone's saying, okay, let's end the work for now. I think we've been out there about 40 minutes. And just as I was about to turn to start to move towards the elevator, the light show started again with this sort of like the chimes and it's like a museum installation kind of thing. So the music starts, and And then, so we all start looking at the light show, and then out of nowhere, behind the lights, behind the standing lights, this sort of like alleged spotlight demonstration begins. And for the next 5 minutes, I also did a live stream for our regular YouTube channel there, and man, that was seriously, to think that was happening over the skies of Tokyo was mind blowing. And the ships were coming. This thin white transparent lights were coming with no connection to the ground. Were coming together in one point, and then splitting into like 6 lights in both directions. And then and they were doing this formation, the cluster, and then the kind of dispersion. They did it probably 4 or 5 times, and in every location they dispersed to was different each time. So I live in the area, like I said, and I've never seen any other. It's like it would be like a movie opening, where you see the spotlight moving around, but the not in any normal arc, or the intensity was wrong, and the fact that you couldn't see any light below the clouds. So we've had that happen in other locations, but never to that length of time, and also never to that quantity of light. So that was a super breakthrough contact event for our team. And one other thing here that we had another, when something that when an event like that happens, the guides are very efficient, so they'll give you. They give us pieces of the puzzle that connect to other work and other groups. So Mark Kaprowski from Tokyo ET Contact was there, and an amazing thing happened because he had showed me a clip from one of their gatherings in Okinawa, where outside of Tokyo, where on the ground no one seemed to have been using any other light or whatnot, but in the night vision camera, some strange anomalous electronic lights or spotted, like a grid pattern of lights was recorded. And lo and behold, in our footage, several people, that light effect was on people's back, and it kind of looks like, this hologram effect where it really is deceiving, whether it looks like it could be coming from something like a ship or something kind of near and outside the group. So we had it on the ground in some clips, and on people's backs in other clips. But one of the commenters on our YouTube, I did a full dissection of the footage on a live stream around Christmas time 2 months ago. And one of the viewers in Japan said, I think that's a smartphone's LiDAR readout, LiDAR display. So, and then afterwards, Mark and I did we were planning on doing a joint video about this, but Mark had recently found this clip, which I'll just show you for a second. And just to throw this out there, you got to, we were about to make a big announcement about this, but you have to be careful. So this is the whether it's man-made or ET, so this is someone filming. I think it looks like the infrared camera, the iPhone 12 Pro LiDAR. This is the effect, that grid pattern of like polka dots, and so it looks really kind of anomalous at first. Thank goodness this guy did a test. So this is I think this is the readout that helps, with the distance and the color correction and the focus of that's how the cameras work so sensitive. So that LiDAR element, or that readout on the smartphones, is there. So that people that will be picked up by your Psionics Aurora scopes and other night vision. So just to give a heads up, the newer smartphones have that effect that's picked up by infrared cameras. So it looks pretty fun. It's fun when it appears, and it looks like it's actually, it's on people's back. So all it was someone standing next to me with their phone there. People were shooting the spotlight phenomenon I was just talking about. So at the same time, their camera was putting out that LiDAR grid. So when it comes to footage and all that stuff, it's better to let it kind of sit for a while after because other information will come in. And upon further review of our footage, I also saw literally just someone looking at their email in the distance of the Sky Observatory deck, someone not in our group, and it was coming out onto the ground from their hand, so from their device. So that was we ruled that out. Anyway, that was one kind of 2021 highlight there. So next quick topic is a lot of people I know, the solo CE-5 video was just released by James on the Engaging the Phenomenon channel. Kudos for that. And so I think I get the feeling that, in Japan we have a lot more group gatherings, and people have been kind of reluctant. We had a slow reaction to the use of our CE-5 materials. We have 2 CDs and 1 DVD out. It's the original DVD. Part of those DVD videos were put on, Dr. Greer used for his channel after the release of the CE-5 film. So they're those were the ones with those kind of psychedelic sort of tunnel vision. I think one's a circular tunnel of lights, and the other one is sort of like this fountain of. They were actually sparklers with a lot of video filters on them, but those were filmed at a contact site with ships in the area flashing at us and stuff. So that all those videos were inspired directly by ideas from the ET guides, and they came out pretty amazing. And there's energy and faces in them too. So I know a lot of people have used those mirror effects to unlock the nature kingdom and different kind of beings that appear in those lights. But now recently the solo CE-5 is, people are starting to do their own work more and more. And I just wanted to comment on one thing you might run into. Well, you definitely run into is the the inner contact work. A lot of inner blocks and what they call the inner shadow, sort of the inner spirituality element. That leads to the question, why can't I ever meditate? Or, and I think meditating outside is more challenging than meditating inside, for one thing. So practicing the CTS image training, CTS and the protocols inside during winter even is a great chance, right? So the more you can do that and build the spiritual muscle, the consciousness muscle when you're not in the field, actually the actual field work becomes a lot easier, is what I've found. At the same time, this is a highly spiritual work, and it deals with a lot of energies. And as we induct a lot of this new energy and new stimulation into the body, into the light body, the aura system, it does bring up a lot of our garbage, or a lot of our crap, patterns, blocks, loops, tape loops. So we've been really focusing on that spiritual element for the last several years. And I wanted to give a quick one of my techniques that was shared by a super popular YouTuber here, and it's really caught on, and just even this simple phrase is so powerful. So we call it the release affirmation, and it's releasing other people's energy, and people in this topic are often what you might call empaths or HSP, highly sensitive people, and so the sponge people is, you pick up everyone else's stuff, so you've got your own internal patterns and biases and problems and things rattling around, as well as on top of that you've got layered on things that have nothing to do with you at all. So what I do is what you do is it's a list of just listening up a list of lower form energies: fear, anxiety, nervousness, worry, stress, panic, pain. These energies that are kind of shared actually quite easily through nonverbal communication, and of course they're connected. They can travel great distances as well, even through the phone. And what you watch every day, the news that come through, videos and stuff. All this energetic mastery element is huge. It's a huge shortcut to really, really advanced contact. So I'm going to be doing a lot of work with this. This is one of our main things now in Japan, and we're having amazing results with it. So if you guys want to use this part of the video, bookmark it, and just I'll just go over the quick release affirmation for you right now. And so all it is I release all blank that's not mine. So I release all anxiety that is not mine. And then you repeat this to yourself. I release all fear that is not mine. I release all anger that's not mine. And then I release all stress that's not mine. And these energies actually travel quite fast, and they're very invasive. If you think about someone super stressed out, they're actually energetically projecting that energy out rather than keeping it in. So it's these are things that we don't need to actually process for other people. So, and they're nearly impossible to process. So the releasing of them intentionally is actually the fastest way. So also I release all worry that's not my own. I release all thought forms that are not my own. Even, of course, thoughts. Thoughts being implanted. Synthetic telepathy was a topic. Thank you, yes, son. Thank you. More from Australia, correct, son. Thank you. So, and also, you can. I release all frustration that's not my own. I release all pain that's not my own. I think there's been those videos about the mass formation. And there's this with the worry, the energy of this kind of like general faceless worry is really penetrative, and I think just releasing that from making it a daily habit to try this affirmation will really lead to some amazing results. So that's it. And once doing this before contact work or before your meditation practice, it really in times when you can't sleep and in times of insomnia is also key, because that means you've normally picked up your body is trying your energy body is trying to process stuff that's not yours. So the fastest way is just to release it and shed it. Yeah, so that's one trip, one technique you can use there for increased energetic connection to the guides, because that's really what it comes down to. When you're actually in the field, raising your vibration to meet the beings coming in from a interdimensional space, higher dimensional space, this becomes a great bridge to them. Finally, something in between that bridge, final point, is that when I was home last time in the U.S. for the holidays of 2020 into 2021, I had a great connection. Thank you, Yamashina-san. Thank you, watching from Yokohama. Thank you. When I had the pleasure to meet another Sullivan, not a direct relative, but potentially distantly related from our Irish roots in our CE-5 New England group, and so via a Facebook group that will remain unnamed, we connected and found that we were in the same state, or our families were in the same state, and so meeting this person was great, and we had our first outing on the shores of a beach. And but just talking to them, it was amazing how they had gotten into this world in the first place was actually via a haunting at their house. So this brings in the relation to disincarnates and spirits and stuff. This is actually, believe it or not, many people's doorway into the ET thing, but even more so than the conspiracy stuff. So. That helps you discern a lot of the phenomenon that the ships induce could be misconstrued as sort of what we might call like an astral level phenomena, or things that might be related to spirits and ghosts. So seeing the difference between those two, and also the way this really connects, especially in places like Japan and England with the high humidity level. There's a lot of ghost sites and ancient war sites and all over Japan. So I find that rather than desert or dry places, there are, as the high humidity levels and places that have a lot of rain seem to have higher collections of disincarnates and spirits in the area. So they need to be, a lot of times it's actually best to kind of heal them and move them on their journey. And so we've learned different techniques to clear the space. So holding sacred space is another amazing shortcut and essential element to a successful CE-5. So, in this case, with this person, a haunting that was, pretty intense at times, and the local paranormal research people were able to even capture audio. So the beings were somewhat aware of the new residents in the house. So that was pretty intense. And when you even just referring to those things, it connects to that dimension. So you want to stay higher than that. So, but what I'm saying is, oftentimes in Japan is when I go, you start to use many different locations. You feel the difference between the quality or the vibration of the land and the different types of beings and spirits and people that are in the area. And with a place like Japan where the usable land space is quite limited, they've been recycling the same properties over and over for hundreds and hundreds of years. So with the work itself, the ships actually help to clear out any blocked or heavy energies, but we can also take part in that process and be aware that those, setting up a sacred space. Some people like to use crystal grids. Bring your salt, and it's not a fear thing, but it is a sort of a shamanic element where you are aware of, for the time being, for the time that we're there, we're borrowing the space, we're using the space, and being in a mindset of gratitude and also connecting to Gaia, of course. So when that occurs, a lot of this stuck energy is able to be moved. So what you'll find is that you're actually drawn to places that need the healing. And when the ships come, man, they really blow. They really kind of vacuum that energy up. And we've done a lot of work with the spiritual vortex and using the ships to clear out spaces. That's actually one of the sessions I do now. So. Being aware of that is an element, because that can be an unseen deterrent to your work, where you're actually like in a really, really heavy space that you had no idea that was like the site of a crime or something like that, or near a jail you never knew was there. Let's say you're traveling in another part of the country you weren't aware of, and or there was some sort of military base nearby, this and that. There could be several reasons why the site itself was not clear yet. So greeting the site, I often like to try and do a visit to the site before while it's light out, and also check the what kind of man-made objects are in the area, and also on the spiritual end of things, do a kind of a greeting, and in the Japan sense, we often visit the local shrine and kind of ask permission, or say hey, we're going to be having this event at this and this time, and it really makes a difference. It's on a subtle level, but you really start to, when you do enough work in different places, you start to see the difference between going through that. They call it in Japan shikitari, which is the sort of like the protocol of greeting the spirits. And that sort of, it's not a ritual, but it's just a kind of manners, the proper manners to the to we're interacting with the unseen world. So that's my those are my 3 points. Yeah. So take whatever works for you, and you might be thinking, oh, that doesn't matter at all. As long as I have my laser, I'm good. But once you start to get deeper into the inner meditation and trying to connect over distance to these interdimensional beings in the craft, that they open up a vortex that you're going to have to pass through. That they're passing through that astral dimension 4D anyway. So along the way, these beings are there, and they're actually very close to the Earth plane. Distant incarnates they're just right out of phase from our physical sensation. So ghost hunters and UFO contact teams use pretty much the same tools. So we had an amazing incident in the islands of Okinawa where a lot of the beings, disincarnates, they can be like a videotape loop where they're not aware of the surroundings. But we had an amazing incident in Okinawa where our staff member, it's funny, if you remember in Disneyland or Disney World, the haunted house, man, Disney is so full of this occult knowledge. It's incredible. But if you go on the haunted house ride, at the very end, they're saying, make sure one of these specters doesn't follow you home, and they project it's sitting right next to you in the cart. And that is 100% true. That is 100% true. The beings will hitchhike a ride home. And we had that happen in a very intense contact work. We had they are able to see this, explosion of light, or what it looks like from their point of view is varied. But we've had members in our group and in our events that are aware of what these local ghosts are thinking and telling them. We had an incident where the staff member saw this man who was in the car riding home with them, and I was in a different car. And I got home. I stayed at it's our local staff family, a young family that supports our work in one of the islands of Okinawa, and we got home around 1 or 2 a.m. I think, and just before bed had a small debriefing, and she told me that about this. She had saw a flash in the rearview mirror. She knew that this spirit had followed them home, and as we're talking about it, he starts tapping on the window or on the wall. And the specters make a tapping sound a lot of times. It's a way they communicate, and this was very gentle, very gentle. And that was like a whole other level of contact. Eventually I was able to do a clearing. And move him on his way. So, but I think he was interested in going someplace else really. So it wasn't scary at all. It was actually extremely. It was even closer than the ETs, because it's a person, the spirit of a person from the area, and he's listening to our conversation. It was really quite the icing on the amazing night of contact. And so, but you can feel the kind of electromagnetic presence, and so even with those type of spirits, there's different personnel. Of course, the personality level and the level of awareness. So that was he repeatedly tapped in response to our speaking on the wall, and that was like So it confirmed her. It confirmed her. Her flash of vision, the psychic vision, that something had happened, and it confirmed that we had a lot of, it confirmed that they can move around. So a lot of these things that had been questions in our mind were confirmed that night. Anyway, so a lot of topics that kind of branch out from your contact work here. There was no specific theme today, but just the first stream. It's been about 50 minutes, so I'm going to sign off and probably try and do one of these twice a month or so. Hope that works for everyone, and I'll post this in as many of the Facebook groups as I can. But thanks a lot for tuning in, and thanks for watching the replay. Greg Sullivan, CE-5 Japan, and Jay Seti. Catch you next time on Super Logical YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye-bye. Many blessings.